Welcome to Let's Face the Facts, the rewatch podcast for the classic sitcom, The Facts of Life. Join us each week as we synopsize, analyze, criticize, and ultimately idolize the show. And now, here's your host of Let's Face the Facts, the wonderful David Almeida.
Thank you, Matthew Arter. Welcome back. It's another week, another show. Thank you for downloading and pressing play. This week, it is our 200th show. 200 episodes. Phew, I'm exhausted. But nope, I ain't stopping. I still have another season to tackle here. And Matthew and I are going to do it. And we are going to see this through. And then after that, we're going to go on for another 200 episodes talking about what I have no idea. But we can talk about this week's episode. Here we welcome back Dominik Rothbard. You recall he was here last week for part one of this two-parter. Dominik is the creative force behind the Facts of Fact podcast, which is the other Facts of Life rewatch podcast that you can find out there and listen to. And we invited him on because we knew he was a super fan and we knew it would be a nice special way to start ringing in season 9. So after last week's cliffhanger, we are back with the exciting conclusion, and I say let's get to it. We watched season 9, episode 2, Down and Out in Malibu, Part 2, which had an original air date of October 3rd, 1987. I think we're ready to jump on in. Let's face the facts with Dominik Rothbard. Dominik Rothbard, welcome back.
Thank you so much. It's been too long.
How has your week been since we last talked to you a week ago?
Oh, man, so much has happened. I'm wearing the same shirt. I haven't showered. It's been crazy.
Is your jock strap nice and starchy after the week? Because my jock strap is just as starchy as starch could be. Because I haven't washed it since the last time we spoke in honor of in hopes that you might find me as interesting as the wonderful Richard Mole.
I mean, I do find you very interesting. And yes, please present your jock strap to me on camera, and let's just see where it goes from there.
Matthew just snarfed.
I like this guy.
Wow.
It's part of my character on the podcast to shamelessly hit on every man that we have as a guest. So
I'm not special at all.
No, obviously
because
you are.
I was about to go change into my jock strap, but never mind.
No, you're the only one that has responded in such a positive light, though.
Oh well,
which warms my heart. Now I don't know what to do. God, you're obsessed with me. Shut up.
And it's still early.
Oh my.
I'm being filmed through my favorite filter on Zoom. It's called Navajo Blanket.
I wonder if is your basement flooded the way Richard Mole's is?
No, but my butthole lips look like a hurricane hit it, like Richard Mole's apartment does for some reason. I look like I sat on a hand grenade.
Jesus. When did... Okay, wow.
It looks like an Arby's roast beef sandwich back there. Oh.
This is where you decided to go. So you were like, all right, so I flirted with you and now I don't know where to go. So I am going to now make my butthole seem as nightmarish as possible.
I'm a buyer beware kind of gal. I think, So,
we can't talk about anything that's going to outdo the entertainment value of this. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, glad we've had this week to rest and refresh ourselves before we jump back into it. And okay, people, it's in the same fucking night, of course, obviously. This is a momentous occasion, Dominik, and you are here for it. This is our 200th episode of Let's Face the Facts.
Happy 200th, guys.
It just so coincided with while we have you here. And what better to do on a 200th episode than to do a crossover with a sister podcast such as your own, The Wonderful The Facts of Facts. So happy to have you here to celebrate that with us.
Well, I am honored to be here. And I'm so glad that we got all the jockstrap talk out of the way so that we can now talk about wholesome things like 200 episodes. That's really quite an achievement. I'm impressed. Do you know what you're going to do with your life after another, what is it got, 22 weeks?
24. After this, 22. You're right. 22 after this. Correct.
I know math.
See, we're actors. We like, but we've been agonizing over this for the longest time, and we still have no fucking clue what we're gonna do. We want to keep going. We want to keep doing a show, but we're like, there is no show that we like as much as The Facts of Life that means as much to us as The Facts of Life. And we're like, we don't want to just do a show for the sake of doing a show. This has been a slog. Getting through seasons 8 and 9, I mean, what we got coming down the pike, and we love this show. It's gonna suck a lot of weeks. Fair warning, listeners.
I like this era. I think it's just so batshit crazy. They are just so tired and done, and just conceptually, the show makes no more sense. It didn't make much sense when they had like a millionaire living with you, but all right, you go to college, whatever. What are you doing now? But I love it. I want them to continue living together forever. I'm okay with it.
I agree. It's
reboot that shit. Let's get season 10 going.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be fun? But not that Todd Bridges shit where Tootie and Willis are married. Fuck that. You ever heard this?
No.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Please tell me this. I'm a big Big Brother fan, so Todd Bridges was on Celebrity Big Brother this year, and I have a newfound awareness and interest and support. He was on my side. I was rooting for him.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, please tell me when did he say this? Why did he say this? Where did he say it?
Within the last 6 months or so, he was saying that he had already pitched some type of a new sitcom, and it would be Willis and Tootie are married, and it would be a family show type of, and it's like, that is not canon. Tootie married Jeff. They had a daughter. Jeff died. This would have to be a second marriage.
Well, yeah, Jeff died because he was trying to pour some salad dressing on his salad, but it turned out it was rat poison because he can't read labels of foods.
We never speculated that. Oh my God.
That's why they need to hire us to write it.
I always say we're sending our notes back in the time machine. These writers are going to get volumes and volumes of notes on every episode.
And I'm not trying to throw another 10 minutes on here, but Dominik, yes, we know that Jeff doesn't know how to read, but he comes back in season 8 as a microbiologist. So I hate to blow your theory to hell, but they've already blown that theory to hell.
Yeah, sure. Like, you don't think that there's other kids doing his microbiology homework because he is the coolest guy in school.
He has
a system in place.
He's also like this rich nerd that shows up in these seasons he has
I remember I've never liked Jeff. I've always thought that Jeff was not good enough for our Tootie. Meanwhile, met Snake and I was like, I love you. Snake and Natalie destined to be together.
Really? You're a Robert Romanus fan?
I mean, like, I'm a Snake fan. Who Natalie,
is it?
I think Natalie and Snake were meant to be together. I think they've got a cool, casual vibe, and I like them. Whereas, meanwhile, I feel like Jeff makes Tootie do weird things, like be on the phone all the time and not kiss her co-stars. And he yelled at her. And I don't like in the reading episode. So I've never seen Snake yell at Natalie. I've seen Snake be weirdly calm and supportive at just about every step, unless there's an episode that I'm forgetting because I have not devoured the snake years yet. At this
we haven't met him yet. No, he's coming up in season 9. A lot is happening in the future here, but my thing with Robert Romanus is, between the Fast Times at Ridgemont High and the buildup to this snake guy, how Natalie refers to him, he's kind of like the Alan Brady of the show throughout season 8. Yeah, that's so true. And But then when we meet him, I'm just like, maybe it's just me again, wrong type, because I'm like, okay, you're into Richard Mall, cool. I don't find Robert Romanus in any way, shape, or form fuckable. Me
neither. Not at all. I don't want to have sex with him at all. I want Natalie to have sex with him all the time because she seemed to really enjoy it that one time she did. So I'm just supportive of their relationship. Meanwhile, I want to have sex with Richard Mall. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Separate issue.
For the record, as long as it is stated here, Your Honor, jury, rest our case. Wow. So speaking of Richard Mall, let's bring it on back. Episode 200 of this show is actually season 9, episode 2 of The Facts of Life, Down and Out in Malibu, part 2. Original air date, October 3rd, 1987. And as I said last week, this was originally broadcast in 2 parts. It was never a 1-hour episode. This half was written by Ross Brown. Ross Brown is a producer on the show starting this season, and he will produce all episodes of season 9. And when I say he's listed as one of the producers, he's not the only producer. As a writer, this is number 5 of 7 shows. And the next 2 that he will write that will complete the 7 shows is The First Time, when Natalie loses her virginity, and Till Marriage Do Us Part, when Joe gets married. So those are both pretty big episodes. Now, previously, he wrote The Ratings Game, Wedding Day, Right and Wrong, and This Is Only a Test. Those are all
This is only a test?
This Is Only a Test is the one where Blair has to study for 6 weeks worth of LSATs to do law school.
Yes.
And that's a recent episode. But the episode was directed by John Boab, our old faithful, old reliable.
The new Azad Kalata.
Yes, exactly. The new Assad. Yes. So before we get into actually our breakdown of the episode, I do plan to put you on the spot to synopsize. But last week we talked about your connection to The Facts of Life, Dominik. I want to take the opportunity to actually get to know you a little bit, because we really don't know you. We met on this Zoom call and only communicated briefly over sliding into each other's DMs on the Instagram.
Yeah.
So would you be so kind as to give us a little rundown of kind of where were you born? What got you to Los Angeles? And are you primarily a writer by trade? I'm just curious, what is your profession? I don't even know fully how you earn a living. So give me the whole Dominik 101.
All right. Yeah, I grew up in New York, Long Island, to be specific.
Oh.
Yes. Let's see. I always had a love of music. I was in bands a lot. Worked at a bunch of record stores. I have a best friend who I've had since high school, who is my writing partner. So we got our start in high school. We wrote a TV movie of the week for our fiction class, called Blood on the Dance Floor, a Thriller, where Michael Jackson was murdered on the set of the Pepsi commercial where his hair got caught on fire. And it was a whodunit told Rashomon style, with all of the Jackson 5 and the Jackson ladies as well being suspects. And we had so much fun writing that. We decided we wanted to do it professionally. I started working on the Ricky Lake show, and that was a terrible job, terrible place to work.
Oh no. Okay.
She was fine, but it was like the job was like breaking up marriages professionally. Like I was on a team that we would do something called Ricky's Angels, where these women would go to clubs to seduce your man to see if you would be a cheater. And sometimes Ricky's Angels would sleep with the men. And it was really dark. And I felt terrible about it. So I quit in a big huff. And the accountant at that show was also the accountant for Whoopi Goldberg's sitcom Whoopi. And she knew that I had the desires to be a writer, and she was impressed that I quit over the reasons that I quit. And she was like, I can hook you up with a job. And I got a job working in as a writer's PA on a sitcom in New York, which is so rare. It was because there's always one, maybe two sitcoms in New York. And I loved every single thing about it. I'd always loved TV, and I got my best friend a job, and then we ended up working with Amy Sherman Palladino and Noah Hawley, and then moving out to LA, where I actually lived in Noah Hawley's house for a year, which is very exciting.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't there.
Did you leave the hot tub on? Did you flood the place and have to try to hire a contractor to see if you could fix it and he wouldn't notice?
Really? That's what you ask? Did you find a starchy jock strap?
I did honestly set the place on fire with a barbecue.
Oh, no.
We fixed it. We got it covered. He doesn't know. And if he doesn't watch this podcast, hopefully he doesn't, then
I promise you he doesn't.
Okay.
Okay, so mum's the word. Listeners, our tens of listeners, you are sworn to secrecy. And the tens of listeners of Dominik's show that have also tuned in, you are sworn to secrecy.
So anyway, I ended up working for him on a couple of shows, and then Amy Sherman Palladino again, going back and forth. And I had my own pilot for ABC Family, which was a dream come true. Didn't get picked up, which was a living nightmare. And no, I'm just kidding. But it was and so I do that. I recently did a Netflix show called Alexa and Katie. Got an Emmy nomination for that, which was extremely exciting.
And that must hurt to see mine over my shoulder, Ben.
It
sorry.
It does. Now I'm developing my own thing with my writing partner still, and that's about that. That's how I make a living, and then I hook on the side just in case.
Well, girl, tell me about it. That's Hollywood, isn't it? Oh, tell me about it.
It's true. Joe said something really good that I didn't put. It was like humiliation pays really well in Hollywood or something like that. And I was like, yeah, it sure does. She spoke the truth in that line.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what I do. I love snack foods, and I eat a lot of garbage. And
Reach.
That's me.
And you have a cat?
I have a cat. His name's Greg. He's somewhere in this room.
He's Greg. Matthew has Judy Garland. And
nice.
I don't have any pets. So, well, cool. Thank you for that travelogue. Do you perform at all? Have you performed at all?
I'm just my OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding.
And that would be what address?
No, I'm actually pretty camera shy. I've been forced to be an extra in a bunch of Amy Sherman Palladino things. Just
those old things. Really... Amy, that shit that Amy cranks out. Yeah.
Just because she finds it funny that I get very camera shy. And then I'm supposed to get killed in a horror movie sometime later on this year. A friend of mine is like an indie director, so that might happen, which I'm nervous about, but hopefully I won't have to say much. But no, I'm not much of a performer, no.
Okay.
No, I've seen your OnlyFans. I think just laying there screaming is one of your finer traits.
Thank you. I like the videos where I eat Doritos and cry in my underwear. Yeah. I feel like those are getting the most traction.
Those are the ones I relate to most, actually.
So let's get to it, boys.
My God, please.
We are going to be here all night, and I am on board. This is so much fun.
Jesus.
But we do have a task we have to finish here. So this is it. You remember from last week, Dominik, what we did? We put you on the spot. and asked you if you would please provide a 1 to 2 sentence TV guide synopsis of the episode. Well, could you please bring this to the rousing conclusion after that spine-chilling, bone-tingling cliffhanger we had to withstand last week? Go!
The girls face severe consequences after flooding Richard Mall's home. That's it. I think that's all I got.
Ding, 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 ding. That's it. That's beautiful. That's all it needs to be.
See, I wrote down the girls face no consequences for having flooded Richard Mall's apartment.
I mean, they're kind of in prison.
They get off scot-free.
They do. Well, no, $500. I mean, woo. And Blair's just gonna fucking reach into her pocket and hand him a $500 bill.
Yeah,
Man.
But what insurance company is going to be like, I'm going to cover $122,500 worth of damages, but that last $500, no?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, what policy did Richard Mall buy?
Yeah. And I'm going to reach that decision 24 hours after the accident happens. That's the other thing. It's like, wow, not only must that be an expensive policy, but he must have paid extra for the Fast Pass insurance adjuster track or something. I don't know.
He paid for an insurance adjuster to have that bell hair that half of the women have on this show.
Oh
season.
my God, the bell hair. I've never thought of calling it that.
Yeah.
Tootie's had bell hair for some time. Oh my God. You're
Natalie looks like a bell, and this insurance adjuster looks like the Liberty Bell. Like, it's the biggest of all of the bells.
It's all about that blunt cut. It's all about that. Yeah, you're totally right.
It's like a cross section. Like, it's like they slice the bell in half because the hair forms like these wings around the head, sort of like protective, like the sides of a bell. It's hard to describe, but it is unique to this show. I really don't see that bell hair too much elsewhere.
And well, you shouldn't. Let's keep it here where it belongs.
The girls are showing how stupid they are by trying to clean this up with paper towels.
Well, I mean, really, you sent me a screen grab of Beverly Ann holding the 2 rolls of paper towels, clearly looking like her bare tits.
Yes, I did.
You texted me that, Dominik, and said, I forgot how crazy this episode was. It's like, yeah, Cloris totally planned that she knew what she was doing.
Oh, yeah. She was like, look at my paper towel boobies. I'm trying to mine some comedy out of this awful episode. Maybe you'll... No, there is. I might get my first laugh. Like, my first true laugh doesn't come until the beginning of this episode, and then I think my only other one is also in this episode. That where I like actually was like chuckling for some time, which was when the flower delivery comes and Joe goes, I hope it's a bilge pump. so stupid specific. And like, yeah, I guess Joe would know what a bilge pump is, so I can't get mad at like the writers for giving it to her. But like, I know the audience is not thinking about it. That made me laugh. I liked it because I was not expecting it.
I laughed when Beverly Ann was trying to help clean up and is doing her fussy Cloris Leachman talk and tries to wipe the front of one of the paintings and just smears it. Because this is actually, we didn't talk about this last week. This is a very tastefully appointed home. They didn't go too crazy with it. It's not too crazy 80s. It's awesome. Peach. It's got some peach accent pillows. There's a little bit of peach going on. That kind of is what is the giveaway there of the time period. But for the most part, it's like, okay, this is a home. It's not too like really overly masculine. And but no, I thought the home was actually quite nice. He has a piano. I wonder if he actually plays or if that was just a prop. If it was like Richard, what would your house look like?
Yeah, Septec just made a complete recreation of Richard Mall's actual house just for authenticity's sake.
It was in his contract that if they were going to do that, they were going to have to do an absolute scale model replica.
I play piano, goddammit. How creepy was the note that Paul left with the flowers? It was, I'll do anything if you live with me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll kill myself if you don't, I think is what he wrote on the back. But They didn't read that. I think it was cut in syndication. I think
It was so dark.
It was written in magazine letters. I don't know if you saw it when she turned it. It was.
So early on in this episode, they begin with we're in so much trouble. And they frequently refer to the fact that Richard Mall could snap them in two. They could, snap them like a twig and this and that. There is a regular and consistent reference that Richard Mall poses a physical threat to them.
Yeah, they say he's big, he's ugly, and he is murderous. Every chance they can, they insult my dreamboat.
Yeah, but I mean, is he? Do you ever get that other than his size? I never, ever got the sense he said a couple of things. And at the end, the sort of punchline was, oh my God, Mr. Malt, thank you. You're being so nice. And he's like, yeah, well, I play such a teddy bear on TV. I thought it would be a chance to really play up, a different thing, pretend to be the bad guy. And it's like, this is pretending to be. I never got a sense that there wasn't a lot of, okay, I'm a celebrity playing myself, so I can't do anything too crazy. Kind of a thing. No, you know what I'm saying?
He was very reasonable. He was way more reasonable than, like, say, Tootie was when she refused to leave the premises.
Oh. Yeah.
We'll get to that, though.
We'll get to that, yeah. But let's talk about Rusty Coleman, who is the actor that plays the delivery boy.
Please.
For 45 minutes. I'm going to talk about him and his career. No, I'm not. I promise. He only has 4 acting credits, in fact.
Oh, thank God.
Starting in the 1990s, he moved into directing, and he is listed as the first assistant director for multiple episodes of several series, including Sabrina, The Parkers, Till Death, Happily Divorced, The Exes, the 2016 Odd Couple, and iCarly, as recently as 2021. So he's still out there, still working. He's behind the camera now.
The best shows.
Yeah, the finest. So it's at this point that Blair says, maybe we can fix the place without Richard Mall finding out. And even Beverly Ann's like, yeah, well, we could at least call a contractor and get an estimate. I mean, God bless TV. Talk about the most fictional of all fictionalizations. However long Richard Mall is gone, ain't no contractor anywhere, not even in 1987, that could
not
do the work.
A magic, like Harry Potter couldn't do this.
No, absolutely. Construction takes for fucking ever. It's the worst. Construction is the goddamn worst. It's just hell. I've experienced it.
And they don't even try to go for somebody fast. They don't go for like Speedy Sam. They go for Budget Bob.
Budget Bob. Did you say Budget Bob? You mean the actor Clyde Kusatsu?
Oh, Jesus.
Clyde Kusatsu is a Hawaiian-born actor of Japanese descent. He is still alive. He will be 74 next month. He is still working. Gentlemen, he has 310 credits in an over 50-year career.
He does look familiar.
I mean, he's been in everything. And since 2013, he has served as the national vice president of SAG-AFTRA Los Angeles Local.
Oh, look at that.
So, yeah, he's a big deal.
Now you have something to talk to him about next time you see him, Dominik.
All right, I'll bring it up at the meeting.
Yeah, he's in LA. Do you know him?
Yeah, Budget Bob.
Of course, Budget Bob.
What everybody calls him from this iconic role.
Yeah. So Budget Bob gives his estimate, and this is where we get the first Tootie, how shall I say, black joke. And do you want to, shall I interpret it, or gentlemen, do you want to?
I don't feel like you need to interpret it, David, as much as you might think. You could just say the line.
When he hands the piece of paper to Joe with the estimate, Joe says, I can't look at it. As Tootie grabs it, she says, Joe, we will work hard to pay it off, whatever it is. And she opens it up, and Tootie says, sweet Lord above, it's back to slavery. And then Natalie, okay, that's the black joke, comes a Jewish joke. Natalie, is this an estimate or your social security number? Ha ha!
That's right. And Joe also makes like a prostitution joke. Like she'll sell parts of her body for this.
Yeah. including her foot, since she hasn't been getting much use out of that. That was actually a good integration of this imposed foot situation on the episode.
Also, we got more score, just to say. This episode could have been a half hour, because if you were to take out the montage, you were to take out the pan when Bull comes into the police station, and you were to take out Budget Bob surveying the place with the score again, I feel like you'd have a 30-minute episode. You'd be home free.
Totally. And I'd say cut more shit and keep the montage in, because if that montage goes, I go. I'm just that's going in the notes.
I'm not looking to cut the montage. I'm just saying
it didn't. Yeah, it was not integral to the plot line.
It was long, is really what I meant.
So the bid that he has given them is $123,000. Blair thinks it's going to be like 15. Yeah. $123,000 in 2022 dollars. Gentlemen, would you like to guess how much that's worth?
$800,000.
Matthew?
$313,000.
You Google that shit.
How dare you?
It's exactly 313. You fucking Googled it.
He's got really good internet. My boyfriend has shitty internet. Otherwise, I would have been on top of that.
It was in my notes. I had it in my notes.
Okay, but I did. $313,000. And he says, hey, they don't call me Budget Bob for nothing. So apparently this is like, it's kind of that you're not going to get a better price, ladies. So anyway, before they have a chance to figure out what the fuck they're going to do, ding dong, it's Paul. And so he gets...
Beverly Ann says she doesn't want to get hornswoggled and tells Budget Bob to go caulk himself. Are we going to just...
Oh my God, I totally forgot that. She says you can take your... What is it? You can take your something or other and go caulk yourself. I totally forgot. How did they get away with that?
I want to see the bloopers of her trying to get through that without saying cock.
Also, I did laugh at this. This was a performance thing, but when everybody's like taking responsibility for this, then Beverly Ann goes, actually, I haven't done anything wrong. I genuinely laughed at that. That was great.
I agree. It's like, well, I could have turned the tub off. Well, I could have made sure you did. Joe's like, well, it's my fault. I should have been taking better care of the house. And Beverly Ann says, I did nothing wrong. Actually,
I have done nothing.
She could have walked out the door scot-free and no one could have fought her on it.
I would have loved it. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, but yes, now douchebag Paul is back.
Paul is back. So he gets introduced to the girls. And so I don't know. This is the point where he says, well, your cast got wet. I'm taking you to the doctor. And Joe's like, no, forget about it. And he's like, no, you have to get used to someone taking care of you. And he picks her up and romantically carries her out the door. And it's all,
perfect time to get a big 3-camera sitcom, Joe. He tries to pick her up and goes, well, maybe just lean on me, or something. But Joe is a damsel in distress. Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. She did resist him. She was trying, and it was somebody. It was that thing of, girl, I know you're tough. You also got to let me in. That didn't. Of all the things that bothered me about these shows, this was not the most offensive to me.
I did enjoy how Paul gave 2 shits about this flood. He just like walks in and Joe's like, I'll explain later. And he's like, okay. Like, he's a whole like feet of water. He's like, I got some lily pad jokes I can make.
I'm going to jump a little bit ahead from my next point that I want to make. In that the audience and the audience reactions, when we get introduced later to the insurance adjuster, Cindy Garver, played by the wonderful Nancy Everhard, when Paul is like, oh, Cindy, and she's like, oh, Paul, and the audience is like, oh, it's like he knows another person who has a vagina. What is happening?
He knows insurance adjusters. Maybe he set this flood. This is all part of his scam. Maybe that's what they were thinking.
But there was this immediate inference. And it's true. Joe did earlier say, you were seeing other women. So we know that this guy is a himbo, as it were. So it's like, the audience is automatically inferring. So they go kind of this like, oh, Cindy, oh, Paul, oh. And then later, before she leaves, when Paul says to Joe, basically, I asked her out and she wants to get with me. I'm going to date her and fuck her for a while so that she puts in the report that no one was at fault and no one has to pay anything. And then she comes downstairs and says, well, I think we're done here. And by the way, next time you have a private conversation, do it in a place where there isn't a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah, learn how holes work, Paul.
Yeah, you might want to revisit that in the book on being human. But also, that also got a from the audience.
Like, why is the audience so invested in the Ballad of Cindy and Paul?
Well, exactly. What are they not invested in? For those audience reactions, where do we not get any sort of reaction from the audience? When Richard Mall comes home early from his trip to find his house gone to shit. That should have been
something weird happened there. You go back and watch this exact part.
You think that's where you said that last week. You think that's where they did something weird? And then he has a reaction to it that gets a laugh. But when he walked in the door, they should have pulled an audio clip from another TV show and put that in post.
Oh, I agree. There should definitely be gasps.
There should have been fuck.
That whole segment is a very, very, very strange. The audio is off. The editing is off. It's like Blair just appears by Richard Moll's side inside. It's something wrong happened. There must have been a joke that did not work. My suspicion is that they did some kind of joke where Blair had no idea who Richard Moll is, because why would she? And then they were probably like, Richard Moll's people were probably like, we don't like this part where you pretend like he's not super duper famous. So edit that out. That's my guess.
What were you going to say, Matthew?
Can I offer this up to you? This is the first time this audience, this episode, has seen Richard Mall. And you remember the Lucille Ball like entrance he made the first time. I wonder if they had to cut out the applause to see him, if the audience applauded when they saw him, rather than the idea of, ooh.
That's an interesting
theory. You think they would
theory.
have filmed them both at the same time? You think they would have filmed this over 2 weeks?
I would hope that sometime they would have said to the audience, this is the first time you're seeing Richard Mall, or maybe that was just the audience reaction to seeing him again. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as a theory.
Oh, that maybe there was applause and later they went, this doesn't make sense that they would applaud his entrance here.
Right.
That's certainly possible. It is. And maybe they did do it over 2 weeks. But who the fuck am I? I don't know anything.
There are a lot of rules about how many scenes you can shoot. Like normally when I've done multicams, like it really depends on the multicam. Like I did a Parker Posey one that we would shoot until like 3 a.m. because she just couldn't remember some of the lines because they were big, dense speeches. And then like I did like a Whoopi Goldberg one where Whoopi wants to get home and be in bed with her cheese doodles at 9 p.m. So it's like, we are going to whip through this. So it's possible that, splitting the difference, they probably were done around 11 p.m. if they were just doing one episode. So they could have possibly had to do this over 2 weeks.
Maybe.
That being said, they could have also just been like, this is a special one with special effects in a flooded house. And this is all going to be pre-taped. And we're just going to like show it to an audience and record their laughter that way.
Oh, that's true. They could pre-tape it and then get the live, do an Archie Bunker's place there.
Yeah, or at least like the stuff that's in the wet apartment because it has like a before and after.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different possibilities there. I think it's most likely that the stuff in the wet apartment didn't have an audience. That's my guess. And then they just like played it for the audience that was there for the rest of it, like in the order of events. And then they recorded those laughs. So that's my guess, but I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Can we talk about Natalie tanning using tinfoil?
Dude, get out of my brain. The next thing I was going to say is a lovely visual gag that they do not draw any attention to. It's a visual gag. Tootie has one of those reflective foil things under her face while they're tanning, and it pans over to Natalie, and she has a roll of aluminum foil, and hilarious.
Yes, I enjoyed it too, but it's always Natalie who has to be so low rent.
So at this point, of course, the girls are home. Joe has been taken off to the doctor. That's where we conveniently have Joe not there. So Richard Mall comes in again to no reaction. They all try to reason with him, and he's, of course, who the fuck are you? Get out of here. And finally, he calls and says, and again, they act like, oh God, and he might hurt us. Oh, and I'm just like,
he says, get out.
Yeah.
And then Tootie laughs in his face and says, we can't get out. Where are we going to go?
Yeah.
You just saw all of Los Angeles. There's not one spot that you could sit for an hour? Like
until Joe got back?
Hey,
yeah.
When Joe comes back from the doctor, let her know we went to this park. Because we don't want to go to jail. But no, they decide to sit there and wait for the cops to come that Richard Mole just explicitly said, I'm going to call them and they're going to come pick you up. And they're like, okay, we'll just wait for them and then they'll arrest us. And that sounds good.
What the fuck? And then when we get back from commercial for the rest of the episode, Beverly Ann, Blair, Tootie, and Natalie are in jail. Please, someone explain to me why.
Because they wouldn't get out of his house.
But when you get taken off to jail, you get booked, you get all that stuff, but then typically you post bail and then you have the trial for the charges.
Yeah, but it's not like they have a millionaire with them who can post bail for them. They need Joe to come and vouch for them. That's the only way they can get out of it.
That's what I'm getting to. It's like the idea is you're usually the in jail waiting on someone, or I can't get in touch with this person. What a conundrum. I'm stuck behind these bars. It's usually because you don't have the money to post your own bail and you can't find somebody who will put up the money for you. And Blair, hello. What is okay, so you're with me here. If there was some other type of explanation as to why they would be quote unquote trapped and stuck there and unable to leave, I can't figure it out.
None of it makes sense. Let's just wait for the cops to come pick us up and go to jail and then not be bailed out by Blair's endless amount of money. And she's just going to ask for champagne because she doesn't know where the hell she is.
Yeah.
And also, I do want to, one well-phrased line from Beverly Ann was, I once ran afoul of the local constabulary back in Appleton. Or constabulary. Like, I just love this. This is so strange. Like,
we've talked a bit about the language of the dialogue they write for Cloris Leachman, where they're literally writing it for Phyllis Lindstrom. They're literally saying what she does best is florid, fussy talk.
Yeah.
And the example
that was hilarious.
I'm not sure I'd go with hilarious.
No, it was because it was thrown away. It was similar to the bilge pump, where it was not really meant for the audience. It was just meant for one guy in the writer's room or something. Like, I once ran afoul of the local constabulary back in Appleton.
I'm not sure that's bilge pump funny. I'm just going to say it. I don't think it is. But
all right, fair.
The line of Beverly Ann's before Blair is having her all-night study session in the episode, what is it called? This Is Only a Test. The others are all going off to a spa weekend, but Blair and Joe opt to stay. Blair has to study, and Joe says, I'll stay and I'll help her because we hate each other, as you're going to continually hear throughout season 9, episodes 1 and 2. Well, Beverly Ann, as they're leaving, turns to Blair and says, good luck with the studying, Blair. And Blair, since I'm not available to lend my personal support, I brought you this book of inspirational quotes. And I'm like, since I won't be available to lend my personal support, what it's like, Who the fuck talks like that to someone they live with? What is that language?
I like to imagine that Cloris Leachman just like Cloris Leachmanified her lines. Because I feel like they're not going to tell her no. She's Cloris Leachman, and she's doing seasons 8 and 9 as a favor for someone. There's whatever she wants to do, let her do it. And we're lucky she's showing up to set every day. And so I think that it's her. I think she's because it's good in a way that these writers aren't.
Here's my thing.
Not saying that the writers aren't good.
Oh no, they're not. Don't worry. You're not insulting me when you say they're not.
Just they're not good like that. They're not Frasier writers.
Here's a really big picture thing that I've also put forth. We already had a mother figure in Mrs. Garrett, and the girls were young. Knowing that they were all adults except for Tootie, and Tootie was literally a year away from turning 18. Why did we feel the need to bring in this other older maternal figure? I would have loved it if they made Beverly Ann the complete opposite of Mrs. Garrett. Make her be the free spirit, the hippie. Mrs. Garrett, we know, was kind of conservative, a little bit religious, but forward thinking and feministic. But why not have Beverly Ann show up a fucking mess, and the girls have to become her keeper?
My apologies, sir, but I thought that's what they were doing.
No,
maybe it wasn't that successful, but she's a mess. She drives into the show and nearly kills everybody, putting her giant house car on a cliff. Everything she says is bananas, and she's never helpful. She's left out of so many conversations, and people do. I feel like if the show was going to last like 12, 13 years, that's where it was headed, was like, these girls are going to have to help this old lady in her doddering senior years. So I don't think that Beverly Ann offered any kind of Mrs. Garrett-like support to these girls. She was just an old taking up the bedroom that Mrs. Garrett
and old and old. They didn't take it far enough. I'm not saying she is Mrs. Garrett, but they did not take it far enough. But then we get into the dialogue we were just talking about, this fussy dialogue. Like, her saying, what did she say? She
ran afoul of the local constabulary.
I ran afoul of the local constabulary. This is where you want her to, no, I want her to be like Meredith or Creed from The Office, where they're like, this is that time that wino gave me a nickel telling me that I could pick up some crack for him around the corner. I mean, I took the nickel. I've done a lot more for a lot less, let me tell you. We know Cloris Leachman was batshit crazy. We know it was there. They didn't have, that's the thing. It's not like, well, this was really asking her to go. Cloris Leachman was bat fucking shit. So that's my big picture, big thoughts about, I still don't quite get what she's doing here. Why she would have, it's our friend Joe is out in California. Let's go. Let's just jump on a plane and go hang out with her, and let's bring Beverly Ann. Would you have brought Beverly Ann?
Yes. I love Beverly Ann. I've loved her since I was a kid.
I love Cloris Leachman. I do not love Beverly Ann.
I do. I just do.
I think, David, what you want, or maybe, I don't know. Did you want them to go with a Alice Ghostly and Designing Women character for her?
Oh, no.
I see, because I see
black man,
right?
Man, yeah.
Well, don't go there, but like wearing a Christmas skirt, kind of Alice Ghostly. But like my thing is like they kind of brought her in as like a wacky aunt character. You know what I mean? Who does make mistakes, unlike Mrs. Garrett, who never made one mistake in her entire life. We've talked about that. Who does make mistakes, who hasn't figured everything out. So now they're just 5 adult women that haven't figured anything out. So I don't know. I'm not as mad at Beverly Ann, but I agree with you, Dominic, in that I think they were like a couple times this season and last the words, "How many Oscars do you have?" How many Emmys for comedy do you have? Were said on this set. Well, she said, you know what? I'm gonna say this line like this.
I don't even think that she had to say that. I think that this job was like with the understanding, like,
You're right.
holy shit, how did we get Cloris Leachman to do these last 2 seasons? Oh, she has a funny way she wants to say that line. Yes, Cloris, by all means. Constabulary it away.
Yeah. Well,
but you do agree that it was Cloris Leachman that said, you know what? I'm going to hold these paper towel rolls like they're my tits.
yes.
So-
Yes.
100%.
That's what I wanted more of that. I wanted her to be a worldly woman with a lot of like all of the stories where, you know, like she says, she starts this whole thing of Beverly Ann as a storyteller and the girls are like, oh God, someone kill me. You know, Natalie's like, can I volunteer for solitary confinement? Like, it's like, Jesus Christ, would she shut the fuck up? Is kind of the role that she plays in the girls. I think it would be better if she had stories that made them all go, you what? You took a dump in a tuba? What? You know? But
I feel like she's got some crazy stories, but my brain is not tuned to the Beverly Ann years just yet.
They're just not. They just don't go far enough with it, and that's my thing. If they ever reboot the Facts of Life, and they want to do a not a Mrs. Garrett thing, they want to do a Beverly Ann thing, they need to get they should get Kate Flannery to just fucking play it as Meredith. I mean, that would be hilarious. There's another redheaded maternal figure right there. Okay. All right. Let's back to the episode.
My God.
By the way, the second cop, we talked last week about how we have a different cop here now. So they can't get out of jail where they don't belong and shouldn't be compelled to stay because that other cop who could vouch for them is friends of Joe Polnichek's, whom he knew was house sitting for Richard Mall. He's away, like we said, camping.
But we get to check mark the sitcom trope of the whole cast going to jail.
Yeah, exactly. Sitcom trope. Yeah. Yep. Which we've done already. We did that in season 2, episode 2.
We did. We sure did.
Yep. The New Girl, part 2.
Joe also learns that Richard Mole needed a tranquilizer.
Yeah, okay, that feeds into this other thing. I'm like, did he? Really? Did he?
It seems so chill, but apparently there was a doctor there to administer his tranquilizer, according to Bell-headed Cindy.
Yeah. But I think that speaking of things that didn't get taken as far as they needed to, they could have had him play a ridiculous monster version of himself. And then at the end, it would have been much funnier.
Still have Richard Mole guest star, and he can be evil, not Richard Mole as himself, if you really wanted.
Yeah, he could be that famous actor from that show, Lon Jarraquette. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. From Day Court.
From
but okay, so here's where my other big laugh comes.
Go for it.
It is the second racist Tootie joke.
Oh, good. I can't find it in my notes. Where? Oh, I did find. Okay, yes.
When
go.
Blair calls from jail and says things have improved since Tootie stopped singing "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot." I mean, but also that is so Tootie. And it is so Tootie to annoy everybody with it. So I it. It made me very happy. I did laugh. It's inappropriate, and I shouldn't have laughed. It's not right.
It is not right. But I'm not saying it isn't funny. I'm with you there.
But particularly just the fact that Blair's like, jail's gotten better since Tootie stopped singing. Just in general makes me happy.
Yeah.
Then Joe says she's going to bail them out as soon as she can. And Blair asks Joe about the cast and her romantic opportunities with Paul. And then Joe goes, the longer you talk to me about me, the longer you rot in jail. And Blair's like, oh, okay, cool, bye. Hangs up. And then Joe has no hustle. That turned out to be not true at all, because she just sits there and she's waiting for Cindy to be done. And she's going to have a whole thing with Paul. No, she's nowhere near on her way over there. She could have talked to Blair about her love life for another 20 minutes, and it would have not affected how long she's letting her friends rot in jail, her words.
You are so right. They could have played the scene with I got to get going. Well, the adjuster is still, can you deal with her? Oh, I'll deal with her. All right. You know what I mean? They could have, that could have been played up, but you're right. That's where that whole scene is with the adjuster, with Paul, and then Paul saying, hey, I'm going to be a dickbag shit stain asshole dude and basically show you what an unethical prick I am and how I use women. At which point, thankfully, this is where Joe's like, and now I know my decision. Thank you. You've helped me make my decision.
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking. I got to give the guy credit, though. The fact that he would even let Joe in on this plan is kind of demented.
It's true. And again, not that fuckable. Really, dude? You could get that other woman in addition? Really? Okay.
No Richard Mall.
No.
That conversation was about the fourth time in the episode where I wrote down, welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Seriously. That was
everybody unscrupulous here. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's an asshole. Everything's expensive. Everybody has a view of fucking the ocean. Everybody lives in Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
I love when Joe's like, you're going to bribe her. And he's like, not bribe her. Well, not with money, with my cock. Like, whoa,
exactly. And Joe's like, I thought you only wanted me on that cock, but earlier when the girls are, before Richard Mall comes back and the girls are hanging out with the tinfoil and the things, at one point it's like, where is Joe? I mean, they know she went off to the doctor, but it's like, well, where is Joe? Why is she taking so long? And Natalie says, she's with Paul. What do you think?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so we're presuming they went somewhere to fuck?
The hospital.
Yeah, on a gurney. Why not? Hey, who of us hasn't? Come on.
They make it like a threesome, but with that skeleton that's hanging on the wall. And so it's like not really cheating. You just put the skeleton hands on the boob.
Oh, bless. So now I had to jump back to that, but now we can jump back forward to this final scene where Richard Mall shows up just as Joe shows up. And
very convenient.
And Joe, once again, not nearly as deferential or apologetic as one would think a person should be. This is the first time they are laying eyes on each other since his house has been trashed. There should be pleading. There should be hands in a supplication mode. She should be like that. But Joe was like, hey, Mr. Mall, look, yeah, your house is fucked up and I'm sorry about it. I'll pay for it there. I said, I'll pay for it. And I said, I'm sorry. What the fuck else you want me to do? And it's like, there's a lot more you could do, girl.
You could suck this cock.
He literally says that. He's like, but you can be my love slave.
Now, this is interesting. This was cut from syndication. He first says, you can be my indentured servant.
Yes.
He's like, what?
I have a leather and latex and a leash fetish. So,
but then he says, be my love slave. And then she's like, ugh. And then he
step on my balls with your cast.
With your flats and your Donald Duck foot.
I have a medical fetish and a domination fetish. This is blowing my mind.
Oh my God. But the fact that in the syndicated version, it's like, well, I don't know what else I could possibly do. And he just goes, be my love slave. Like it goes right there, which is just creepy.
I mean
that's what I was like. Me. You don't even. I mean, yeah. Dominic said he's like, okay, I'll fucking trash your house again if that's what it takes.
Yeah, we're done. I will pay you back, Mr. Mole.
That could have been perfect. The end to that scene. Bye, girls, and she walks up with him.
Walks up exactly.
Be my love slave. Bye, girls.
Yep. Okay. Done and dead.
Yeah, I can't believe he was like, are you good for $500? Like,
Because Richard Mole is a kind, wonderful human being.
if he's that kind and wonderful, just cover the 500.
Really? I know exactly. It's like he's like,
Well,
is that gonna work for you? Is that gonna be okay?
The
And
writers
You're homeless and I'm on night court.
The writers still need the young girl audience to know that sometimes it doesn't pay. You have to. There has to be something that the
consequences. Yeah,
learn your lesson.
Don't go flooding celebrities' homes.
Right.
But the fact is, he says, "Is that going to be okay for you?" I did want her to say, because it's not okay for you. You can't cover $500.
Yeah.
Really?
Nah,
yeah.
It's not okay for me. Fuck off.
It's okay.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. I'll get it out of my nightstand in my bedroom, which, I don't have because I'm fucking homeless. Yeah.
But let's not acknowledge my millionaire best friend.
No, not at all. Let's leave her behind bars. Again, why they can't get out of their own volition, we do not know. But the joke is, it's all good and fine and dandy. Joe and Richard settle up, at which point the cop is like, okay, so what about your friends? Yeah. And Joe goes, never seen him before in my life. Bye. Peace out, bitches.
Mm-hmm. And then we don't have season 9.
Yeah.
Season 9 is them trying to escape. It's like Prison Break, but with hairspray.
I'm so glad you're here, Dominik, for this next scene because it's our 200th episode. And it's so joyous to share this with another super fan who appreciates it.
Big moment. Do you know what we're talking about? Do you know? I'm assuming I know what Matthew said. Do you know what we're talking about? The next scene?
The kitchen?
Yes.
Seeing the kitchen?
We have never seen that kitchen before. Ever.
Not since Over Our Heads. Edna's Edibles, we've seen the kitchen there, of course, but it has been 2 complete seasons, seasons 7 and 8. We have never set foot or seen this set.
Pretty exciting.
We get to see the kitchen, David. Couldn't you just shit? That's entrance number 3 to this ginormous house.
Exactly. There's so many. And now a staircase. There's also a back staircase that was never there before.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. On that post-fire renovation?
On this Winchester mystery house of a fucking house they live in.
It is so true. So, yeah. But basically, this kitchen scene is once again back to Blair going, oh, Joe's not here. So, and it's like, wait, what? She stayed? What? And they say, yeah, she stayed out there to give it another shot. So they think.
After all of that?
Exactly. And then Blair is like, so she's not here and blah, blah, blah. Isn't it great? It's like, come on. Stop that. Just stop it. Blair and Joe, we hate each other. Oh, I'm just tired of it. It's so old hat. It is so beneath where their relationship has gone.
But also, I do think that the fact that Blair has decided to have some cereal in her silk shoulder padded belted dress is fantastic.
We don't know what kind of cereal it is because there's 2 big black lines over the words Frosted and Flakes, which is hilarious because I watched an episode of The Food That Made America, and Corn Flakes is not a trademarkable name.
No.
So, but Frosted Flakes, they could have used a box of cornflakes and not given a dime to anybody, but it had to be fucking Frosted Flakes.
You also can just change one letter on that. Like, you don't need to just scribble it out like a crazy person. Like, oh, Andy was coloring our cereal boxes before he went to camp. Like, well, this is just crazy.
Yeah. There was one where, what was it, Matthew, that they did? It was
Fiber One.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Fiber One.
Box of Fiber One.
Yeah. Tootie was eating a box of Fiber On. They covered the E and nothing else. And we're like, what? Do you think we don't?
That's good. I like Fiber On. It's better than Fruit Oops, which I also saw on this show.
Fruit Oops.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So Joe shows up. Joe's moved back. Oh my God. Why did you move back, Joe? And Malibu was full of beautiful blonde people and all they did was talk about themselves. It was like being in an entire city full of Blairs. Ha ha.
Okay. So you went to go live with the source?
Thank you. It's like, yeah, and since I hate Blair as much as I do, I'm going to move back home with Blair. Yeah, that's it.
Where I share a bedroom with her.
But thank you. It's like, anyway. So,
I mean, things were not going well in California. She was homeless. She was in jail. She was dating a serial cheater. She was going to be in debt to Hollywood royalty Richard Mole. Things were terrible. She lost a job and a boyfriend that she moved out there with, and we're not even speaking of. So that stuff must have really gone down in that time. I don't blame her. Plus, this way she gets to be closer to Beverly Ann, who we all know is the best.
But I took that line as, you guys saw my life out there. I'm going to make up the reason. These are the stupid. She's just good at sitcom lying. Because if Tootie had delivered that line, it would have been like, well, it's a town of Blairs. Yeah. And there's just nuts and Slushy Street. Whereas I think Joe was kind of like, you saw the shit show my life was. Of course I'm back. Jesus.
Yeah. Maybe I think I'm going to open up the store today. Maybe if we sell something, I might be able to generate an income. Maybe. Yeah.
Have your old fireman calendars, the Langley swim team calendars.
That's so true. And that brings us to the end of the 2-part season premiere to season 9. Yes, we thought we had lost Joe at the end of season 8, but no. Thankfully, in true comedy fashion, everything is back as it was when it started. Our 4 girls, Beverly Ann and Andy, was allegedly being picked up from camp, so he's going to be back. We are back to where we started. All is good and right in the folk you.
Can I be the first to invite Dominik back this season? And we promise a regular episode is not this involved.
It's true.
I would be happy to come back. I would be honored.
You don't have to block 4 hours of time for a regular episode.
Yeah, no. We can knock it out in an hour and a half. Really, we can.
Oh, I trust you guys. I would love it. You let me know.
Okay. No, it would be great. This has been so much fun, like Matthew said, to have a super fan where we don't need to explain to you who Pippa is, where and understand the WTF-ness of this kitchen and the architecture.
Oh, yes.
How it fits in. And why is it so beautiful brown, and it looks like the old Edna's edibles? Why is it so for the friggin'
rich wood tone?
Yeah, with the rich Corinthian leather tones versus the color splash of everything else in the house. It's just like this does not fit. This is so weird.
It is. I loved it. I was excited to see it.
Well, first time, and it won't be the last. So with that, Dominik, we just want to say thank you so much. I would love to have you back. We will definitely be in touch about that. And until then, smooches and goodbye. Mwah.
Goodbye.
Okay, I love you. What?
And there you have it. That was Dominik Rothbard. I went on a little happy jaunt laughing at his reference to the Bell haircut from the 1980s. And I was editing and realized he mentioned it last week, and somehow I missed it. I just wasn't paying attention. And so anyway, I'm glad he said it again, just in case you're wondering why it's weird that I only reacted to it the second time. Well, now you know why. It was not the sound of my own voice, so I probably just wasn't listening. Anyway, it was great to have Dominik here with us again for part 2. You can hear him and his friend Britt Lundborg on the Facts of Facts podcast. The link is in the show notes and on this episode's webpage. They are currently on hiatus, but he is hoping to be back to it really soon. And in the meantime, you have 5 whole seasons of shows you can listen to of his, now that you've already listened to ours. Anyway, next week we're going to be watching Season 9, Episode 3, Rumor Has It. You can watch the show ahead of time for free at dailymotion.com. I will post the link in this week's show notes and on the episode's webpage. That is all for now. Thank you so much for listening to this week's show. And remember, the facts of life are all about you.
Let's Face the Facts was created, produced, written, hosted, and edited by the wonderful David Almeida. Our theme song was beautifully arranged and recorded by Ned Wilkinson. Please visit FaceTheFactsPod.com for supplemental photos and videos, links to social media, and ways that you can support the show. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This is Matthew Arder saying tune in again next week for another thrilling episode of Let's Face the Facts.